Welcome to Paley Front Row, part of the Paley at Home series presented by Citi.
Big ideas often start small. When the global payments and software company Flywire wanted to get from here to there, they needed a global bank like Citi. With local teams in 95 countries, Citi was able to help Flywire grow and expand into businesses like education, healthcare, travel, and B2B worldwide. In turn, inspiring the next generation of ideas for the love of moving businesses forward, for the love of progress. Citi.
Ladies and gentlemen, the host of The Late Late Show with James Corden, Mr. James Corden.
Gonna have to bear with me tonight. It's all a little too much for me to take in at points, so I will try my best to talk about it in with any kind of reverence. But it's watching that. And there's another. The first cut of it that I think it was Tom. Was it Tom worked on it? Was it Tom?
Inga at CBS.
Inga worked on the first cut was like 17 minutes long, and it's I don't know. It's everything I ever wanted the show to be. It's in every single sense. It's everything I ever dreamt of it being. I just wanted it to be joyful. I wanted it to be big. I wanted it to be ambitious, and I wanted it to be full of fun and love and light and so in this minute now, watching that, being here, talking to everybody here, it's an immense feeling of pride, really. Yeah.
And now, after a year ago, you knew that it was time to close this chapter in your life. And now we're here. We're 1 month away from it actually happening and walking away.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
It feels incredibly strange, you know. It feels strange, and it's an unnatural feeling to walk away from something that you love so much. It's not right, because you're having such a great time. I get to go to work with all of my best friends. Essentially, our job is to be creative every day and try and think of the next big idea that we can do. But then at the same time, I'm so certain that it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I'm so absolutely certain that we did everything we wanted to do. And I think it's really important how things end. I think it's really important that we go out in the manner that we came in. And we have 12 shows to go. There's a strong chance they'll be our biggest 12 shows we ever do. And that's going to be absolutely thrilling, you know?
In many ways, The Late Late Show with James Corden set the bar for late night television very high and changed the dynamic of it, the culture of it. I mean, the things that we just watched, going in a jet fighter with Cruise and playing around with Tom Hanks and redoing, going head to head and in a rap hall with, I mean, this is craziness. So can you take us back and give us an idea of an average day? When you come in, we know, we see him at 11:30, and it's an hour, and we go, that's nice. He doesn't cruise in at 11:30, obviously. You guys, what time a day do you get there, and how does that start?
Well, obviously I do 2 hours of working out every morning.
Yes, religiously.
I don't know if you've ever seen Mark Wahlberg's schedule. It's very similar to that.
It is, yeah.
Just strive for 5, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, the best thing to say about a regular day is that there isn't a regular day. But what's strange is when I think about the show, when I was at school, like all I ever wanted when I was at school was to just avoid wearing a suit and sitting behind a desk. It was like, that was the worst thing that I could... if that happened to me, I'd completely screwed up. And now that's a huge part of my day. I mean, Ben, what's What's a regular day?
Well, a regular day. I mean, we have I guess it does depend on what we're doing, but I mean, it's a full-on day. I mean, should I give you the rundown of the schedule?
Great.
Okay, so the rundown of the schedule. So usually, Rob and I will usually get in touch before we're at work, maybe like 8 o'clock. We'll just check that everything's okay and we're doing all right. The monologue team, our head writers led by Ian Carmel and Lauren Greenberg, they'll get together quite early, maybe 8 a.m., start working out what the stories are. I won't go minute by minute. I know we've got a short amount of time.
Appreciate it.
Then it will get to sort of 9 o'clock, and sometimes one of us will, or James Longman or Josie Cliff, our other two EPs, will go to an edit, check whatever the tape bits are for that night. 10 o'clock's a production meeting, used to be in person, now it's on Zoom, where we'll literally just do a 5-minute meeting led by Rob, where we'll go through exactly what's happening on the show. 10:30 will be, we'll pop in, see James, have a gossip, talk about very little work. 11 o'clock will be a creative meeting with all of our writers where they will go through what's on the show, on the script that night creatively. Not monologue, not questions for the guests, but scripted bits. And then they'll also talk about future guests. So we'll say, oh, Bryan Cranston's on the 10th of April. He is. And we'll talk about, oh, you know, can we pitch him this? Or you know, we'll go through those sorts of ideas.
Most days we think about what we can pitch Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. And then it will go from there. 12 o'clock will be usually us going back to the edits, seeing what tape bits we've got. 1 o'clock will be a segment meeting where the segment producers will go in and they'll brief James on the interviews that he's going to be doing. 2 o'clock will be a mono meeting where they give us the first mono. James will read it. We don't do it on the floor anymore. We do it on Zoom. I'm sort of getting there, right?
Yeah.
3 o'clock, Tim Mancinelli will rehearse everything on the stage. 5 o'clock, we tape. 6 o'clock, we're finished. 7 o'clock, we're looking at edits. 9 o'clock, it goes on the line. And then we've got to have it out by 9:20 because it's on in Canada, I think, at 9:30 LA time. And then we do it all again the next day.
And then some days, if we're shooting stuff, so like the week we get back, we're not on this week, but we're going to film this Tuesday. And then the week we get back, we have 4 shows. Plus that week, we're shooting 2 carpools and a Crosswalk the musical, as well as the 4 hours of show. So those are the days where some days it feels like from noon, you just don't, sometimes it feels like your feet don't touch the ground. I mean, you know, you hosted the show. I don't know if people know this.
Yeah,
such is Bryan's relationship. Bryan has always been the most phenomenal supporter of our show from minute one, and there's no greater evidence of that than him being here today. But whenever we've come to you, we've done crazy things together, stupid things together, brilliant things together. And then when my youngest daughter, Charlotte, was born, there was one day where there was a moment where it could have been quite scary, and we had to basically stay in the hospital. And I called Bryan and said, look, I have to be at the hospital. Would you host the show? And he was so incredible that I watched it from the hospital and thought, no, I got to get back on tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm not joking. I'm being deadly serious.
When you look back at the show starting in 2015, Rob, do everything you wanted to do? How did this show evolve from the first ideas way back then to now?
Well, I think when the show started, even when Ben James and I met about it, all we really had was sort of an emotional language that we shared about what we wanted the show to be. We wanted it to be joyful, we wanted it to be bright, we wanted to be a beacon of light for people at the end of the night. And then when we started the show, James being unknown in America to the vast majority, we just needed to come out of the gates flying. And so our first 2 weeks, we wanted to be incredibly ambitious. And then the evolution from there was the fact that we loved that pace. And what we found in those first 2 weeks is that we'd hired a staff and a crew that shared James's work ethic and ambition. And they wanted the show to be big. And they wanted the show to be bright and doing lots of things all the time. And so that sort of like put us on our path in trying to do big, pop culturally relevant variety shows every single night. And then there's other evolutions that were forced more, like the pandemic was an evolution.
Right.
And but what we found in that was that the community that we have at that show, you know, I think the majority of the people that we work with started with us in 2015 and are going to end with us in 2023. Wow. And so we have an incredible staff and crew. And so when we had to sort of come together in a different format of show, not that big pop show, what we realized is that we could share that community we had through our really long first segments of the show where James is just with his friends and his staff and his crew, and he's chatting and he's bouncing around the room. And in a weird twist, our YouTube page has become the most beautiful place you'll ever go for comments and aspirational positivity.
Very good.
And that was the sharing of the community that we have at that show with everybody else who's watching around the world. And so took off fast, found new ground after that, and then are gonna finish fast again.
James, when you first started, it was reported that you were worried that this show is not gonna last, that you might kill the show. Was this just natural fear of taking on such a big project? Or did you really...
I was certain in its failure. Yeah, honestly, it never, I genuinely, and that wasn't because I thought we would make something bad.
Yeah.
I just thought, how can this work? Like, you know, it's like when we first came, like I said to Ben, like I really, Ben and I had worked together, and we have a production company back in the UK, and I said to Ben, I was like, I won't go and do it without you. I need you to come with me. And Ben said, okay, I'll come for, I think you said, I'll come for 9 months. Cut forward, I'm moving home in the summer and he's not going anywhere. Yes. And then we would go to these meetings where people didn't know who they were meeting. All they've been told is, you're meeting the host of the Late Late Show and some kind of genius producer.
Yeah.
And we'd walk into the room, and by anyone's metric, we're in the wrong bodies. Like, he looks like the new 12:30 host on CBS. Yeah. And I look like his friend who's like a crazy good producer. And we'd go in and they'd look at us and be like, oh, oh shit, okay, it's the other way around. And it was just moments like that and stuff like that that just felt, it made it feel so, it was just too big a thing. So I would just say to all the time, I was like, you know, this won't work.
When did you know that it did? What was there any...
About 25 minutes
About 25 minutes.
Yeah, no.
Was there any specific show or moment that you went, oh, this does work, we can do this?
Well, I knew that our first show was really strong. I knew that we had... Historically, I think it's fair to say these shows start on rocky ground and get better. And we knew that we didn't have that luxury. I hadn't come off Saturday Night Live or, you know, a Comedy Central show. I had no relationship with an audience. And so for quite a long time, you find yourself sitting going, nobody knows what I've done and nobody knows who I am. And then you have to change your mindset and go, hang on a minute. Nobody knows what I've done. Nobody knows what I can do. Oh, I've done my 10,000 hours. I'm ready to do this. And then as soon as Tom Hanks said yes to recreating his film career, like, you know, that was mega. We opened with a big sketch. The next night we had the first Carpool with Mariah Carey. The night after that we had Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart. 3 nights after that, we went and just randomly did the show from someone's house. Like, and we just didn't stop. And very, very quickly, basically, I realized the show was doing well when I could get into the building without my security badge. Yes. And that was about 6 weeks after we'd been on air.
So that's it.
Even standing in front of the billboard, telling the security guy that I'd gone for a sandwich and going, no, that's me. And this security guy went, no, I don't see it.
Well, the ideas that you come up with, and I've been on the show several times, just the craziness ideas that came up with, I got to the point where the first time I said, well, tell me again, what am I doing? What are we going to do in this sketch? And then after that, I just said, yes, just whatever the craziness is, I'll just do it. And you just really do have to just dive in. I'm the boy band, the man boy band that we did first. There we are. Then we acted out a soap opera scene where the dialogue was music lyrics.
Yes.
You remember that? I was the elf on the shelf.
Yeah.
There we go. And then the last thing we did was we played Simon and Garfunkel where my hair got increasingly larger throughout the song. It's just, you know, on paper you'd say, well, that's the silliest idea in the world. And you know what? It is the silliest idea.
In those 4 images, you've seen the show erode. That's what it is. We've got to a point where so many people started saying yes. We're like, what if his hair just doesn't? By the end of that bit, it's worth going to watch. It's so stupid. By the end of that bit, Bryan's entire body, from feet to about 3 feet above, other than just his face, is hair. And I'm wearing a turtleneck, and it's about 4 foot
above
high. And it's never referenced, never talked about.
No.
It just dropped in and dropped out.
Song.
We didn't even intro it or outro it.
You told me when we were shooting that one of the original ideas was instead of the turtleneck, that you would just turn into a ham sandwich. And it was like...
That was a genuine pitch that was written because we were thinking, well, what could we turn into? And I think it was Louis Weymouth who writes on the show, he just put, James gradually turns into a ham sandwich. And then we all sit there and go, well, that's how would that
You
happen?
actually gave it credence.
You have to. You've got to give everything credence because from a bad idea, something very, very good can happen.
Okay, so wait a minute. Now, they can't all be great ideas. What are some examples of some sketches that did not make it?
Well, there's been a few.
Yeah.
There's been a few terrible ones. I think one of my highlights was does everyone know the rapper Rick Ross?
Yeah.
Rick Ross, icon, legend. We managed to book him on the show. He's got a very, very famous song, Every Day I'm Hustling, right? Some people know that. So he comes in and we have pitched him a parody of that song where Every Day I'm Cancelling is the lyric. It sounds terrible. I don't know how it got as far.
Well, it's about when you get to a
this.
certain age that you don't hustle anymore, you just cancel plans.
Yeah.
That's what it was about.
Cancel.
It's about two guys of a certain age who just they make plans, and then at the last minute, you lie and say something's happened to your dog. And it's every day I'm cancelling.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
And we were on a run. We had done a parody with Alanis Morissette, which had gone great about Isn't It Ironic? We'd done a parody with Meghan Trainor. We had hot hands when it came to these parodies. And Rick Ross came to the floor. I don't think he'll mind me saying he was stoned out of his head. I don't think he'll mind me saying that. And he watched the rehearsal. And the thing is, when an artist comes to the floor, usually it's one of our producers. Often it's Dave Piendak, one of our producers on the show, who is performing to the artist, showing them what they need to do. It's an easy way of doing it, of going, just watch what Dave does and then make it better and we'll be there. And Rick watched this performance of Every Day I'm Cancelling, and he stared at it and he went, I'll be back in a minute. And we've never seen him since. We've never seen him since.
He walked out of the studio.
He walked out the building.
He came back to perform the song.
Yeah.
But
not the parody.
No, not that
yeah,
song.
yeah,
No, the song he was on
refused.
to perform in on the show. But
No, we
what
never
was
saw it.
amazing was all week we went back and looked at emails from like Rick's team going, oh, Rick loves this. He thinks this is...
Yeah.
But he
This
made the
is-
right decision.
He
It's
did
gold
make the
dust.
right
To
decision.
be fair to him, he made the right
He
decision.
did make the right
Yeah,
decision.
it was,
He does not need that out there.
if you go back and read it,
Yeah.
you have to back Rick Ross. every
Rick Ross
day.
made the right
It was-
decision.
Right
Yeah.
decision.
It was a
Yeah.
terrible
Rob,
idea.
any ideas of anything that didn't work?
Oh, geez. Rick Ross was front of mind for me because it was just one of the funniest days. I mean, we have I would say 12 a day that we go through and talk about and then decide aren't the right direction to go in. We were gonna hang somebody very prominently from a glass box on Sunset, which we figured out the logistics of doing, and then we realized that we
Well,
couldn't.
you can say who it was, I think. It was
David
J-
Blaine?
No, it was J-Lo. Me and J-Lo were going to live in a glass box. This is completely true.
Yeah.
We were going to live for a day in a glass box hanging over Sunset Boulevard. And this got so real that we were like, we had
Permitted it.
we permitted it. We had a scaffold company to hang this box, and there was going to be 2 chairs in it, and people could just come up and look at me and J-Lo living in a box. And
Air conditioning was very
Yeah.
problematic. We thought we might bake you.
Yeah, they might burn. A lot of people might be thinking now, why? And the truth is, we don't actually
We don't
remember or
know.
know. Yeah.
well, I said, because I think she had a...
She had a
she had a documentary. And the idea was that it's, you can see everything. And I said, I remember where I was driving up the road from my daughter, who's here tonight, Kerry, her basketball game, and we were like, we have to do this. You were like, you just put your head on it. Have you got any ideas? And I just said, why don't me and J-Lo live in a box above Sunset Boulevard? A glass box. And Ben went, don't say this and then back out, because... And I said, no, I'm 100% in for it. And we were going to do it. And then at the very last minute, it was, I think, a diary issue with J-Lo meant she couldn't find an entire day to sit in a glass box. Yeah.
Well, not only are the sketches that you film funny as hell, but also the games that you play on the show live in front of the studio audience. And one of them that I love is Spill Your Guts or Fill Your Guts. Yes. Now, this is a truth or dare kind of story. I don't know if you're familiar, where you have to tell the story and the truth, and if you choose not to tell the truth, you have to eat some kind of concoction that's in front of you. And so to give the audience a true sample of what this is like, let's play Spill Your Guts or Fill Your Guts right now. Right now.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yes. Well, surprise, surprise, boys and girls. Now, they don't know what's happening here, but what they have, oh, gosh, that's an eyeball. Oh, my God. Okay, so, okay.
Can they see what they are? So I've got a congealed blood pudding and fish eye skewer.
Can you see that? There it is. A fish eye skewer and blood pudding. Yummy, yummy. You didn't mention the lettuce. Ben has a hot sauce shooter. Now, this is made from Carolina Reaper, spiciest pepper in the world.
Is that bad? Yes, that's bad.
And then Rob has, what do you have, Rob? You have a dish.
I see a cockroach. I see a tarantula.
Can you
How did
see
I
this?
get the worst one?
Can you
tell
see
you got
this?
the worst.
They can see it there.
You didn't get the worst one.
Oh my God, that's got to
Okay,
be.
so this is a dish mixed of
trifle.
a bug trifle. Okay.
I cannot tell you how much joy it brings me to play this with these two absolute bastards to my left, right? Because it's different when you sat in front of them.
yeah.
Yeah, and when sometimes I'm like, oh, guys, do we have to? And they're like, they roll their eyes at me that I can feel it from the parking lot. So now it's
Here we are.
absolutely thrilling.
8 years watching you do this.
Ben, we're going to start with you.
Disgusting.
Okay.
And you notice there are puke buckets that
you'll
are
need it.
sitting underneath here just in case. We're completely prepared. Okay, here we go. Ben, your dish is a hot sauce shooter. Now, Ben, you've known James since you were 18 years old. You've worked together for years. What is your least favorite James Corden project? Remember?
I don't think we've got time.
Spill your guts or fill your guts.
Oh, well, I loved cats, so...
The actual feline?
I did. I thought it was very underrated. James knows I'm never going to eat that. He's known me well enough to know that there is no part of me that is ever putting anything like that in my mouth. So he will not mind that I will be rude about a project you did. But to be fair to you, just to say, I'm not saying you wrote it, directed it. I'm not saying anything.
One of 50.
So before James came to America, and many of you would have been aware of him, he did a movie. And the movie was called The Lesbian Vampire Killers. True story.
Yes, sir.
This guy loves it.
Thank you.
This guy loves it. But he also thought Rick Ross's parody song was a good idea.
Sir?
I saw him. So it was a terrible film. And I don't think James will mind me saying, and that's why I am not going to be drinking the hot sauce shooter.
I'll go along with that.
I'm so disappointed. All right, we'll let you go on that one. Rob.
Oh my God! Can I just say, I thought this would be an emotional night. I feel like crying right now.
There's a cockroach waiting for you.
No.
You've worked with, let's see, okay, Rob, you've worked for James Corden. You've worked with Jimmy Fallon.
Yep.
David Letterman.
Yep.
Carson Daly.
Yep.
You know where I'm going with this? Rank these late night hosts from best to worst.
Yeah, come on, Rob.
Come on, Rob.
And remember,
Come on, Rob.
this is all being recorded, Rob.
Yeah.
Come on, Rob.
I've just seen Mike Schneider at Variety's got his laptop right open.
Everyone is going to see this, Rob.
Come on, Rob. From best to worst or worst to best?
Best to worst.
Best to worst.
I think you
But
should
at
go
that
from
level,
worst. I think you should go from worst to best.
Well, no, because he's going to have to say your best because you're on stage. So therefore, he starts there.
Necessarily.
Oh, wait a minute.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I mean, at that level, they've all been so successful. There's no real worsts.
Oh,
There's
man.
only
That's a
shades
producer
of
for you.
best.
No.
Come on,
They're
Rob.
best to worst or eat the cockroach.
Best to worst, Rob. Remember, they will see this.
Eat it so badly.
I also
Eat it,
want
Rob.
some of them to still do stuff with the show.
I think
They'll
you
be
should eat it.
watching.
What, in the 12 shows we've got left?
Yeah,
Rob?
yeah, yeah.
right.
Eat it. You've got to have a bug. You've got to have a bug.
No, you gotta have
You've
the
got to have the
cockroach.
bug.
No, I
You gotta
got.
have the cockroach.
You've got to have the
Rob.
bug.
This is
You gotta
meal.
have the
It's
cockroach.
mealworms and a
You've
grasshopper.
We've
does
got to
have
see
worms
it.
on
We've got to see a
I got-
cockroach in there.
You've got to have bite.
Come on, Rob.
Bite the
You've
cockroach.
got to
Come on,
give the
Rob.
people what they want,
Bite the
Rob.
cockroach. Come on.
This is what I've done this 50 times. It's not nice, is it, Rob, when someone's...
Jesus Christ.
Come
Oh
on,
my
Rob.
God, I'm shaking. I can't. Oh, there's something else on the bottom of it. There's too much of it.
Come on.
Come on.
I can't get.
Come on, you've got this, baby.
Oh, wow.
Come on,
Straight in.
Come on.
Straight
You got
in.
it.
Go on, Rob.
You got it. Nicely done, Rob. What a man. He's not even using the spit bucket.
Yeah.
Look at you.
It's,
All right.
it's inside of me now.
You okay? You all right? Okay.
Yeah.
Good job. All right. James.
Yes.
I think for a moment you forgot you were going next.
I did, if I'm honest. Yeah, I did.
All right.
I got so into the idea that they were doing it, and now I was like, oh, fuck.
You started a phenomenon with having the audacity to have these A-list singers in a car driving with you to sing Carpool Karaoke, which has become this unbelievable hit. Which of all the singers that you revere and admire so much was the worst?
See, the problem is, normally I could joke, and I'd just lie, and I'd say someone who's clearly not a good singer. But now we live in a time where this would just, in print, would look awful.
Yes.
And I
It'd be
wouldn't
cruel.
do that. Yes. So
Watch out for the stick.
I'm gonna take the
Actually
stick off.
looking at you.
Blood
Take
and
the stick off. I'm
eyeballs.
just gonna.
Oh, the bottom.
Okay. Make a sort of like a protein style in and out.
Yeah, that's all
you know?
it is. Make sure you get an eyeball in there, too.
Oh, don't,
he does.
Don't worry, Brian. There's a fucking eyeball. I mean, what? In a truth, why do I care? No, like, why don't I just tell you who it was?
Yeah, I agree.
It's not that sort of show, Brian.
Oh, there's the eyeball.
There's a bit on the edge.
Jeez. Oh, man.
Has
Oh, no. Oh, no. We made him vomit at the PaleyFest. Oh, no.
It's going to look really good, that bit, on that when they do that clip reel next year.
Has anyone actually lost it on the show? We see the edited version, but has anyone eaten it and then
Oh,
Yeah.
no-
Who was it?
Charlie Puth.
Charlie Puth, man.
Charlie Puth. Charlie Puth was doing
He
it.
couldn't recover.
He couldn't recover.
Wow.
No, he had to go and have a
He
lie
just
down.
kept gagging and going again.
Wow.
It's a terrible game. I don't know
It's a
why we
terrible,
do it. It's a
terrible game.
terrible game.
But it brings us lots of joy because we didn't have to eat it.
Yeah. There we go. Great fun.
Well, okay, so
Still like churning.
a fun game, but let's as they clear this away, I wanted to talk about over the last 8 years, you must have some favorites, right? So, James, can you tell us about what your favorite sketch or game or moment on the show was? Is there possible?
It isn't possible. It's not. I mean, we've been very fortunate that we've done events like this before and things. So when they asked for some, I mean, look, there's so many bits that I could have chosen that that I'll never ever forget. So I decided to sort of choose one that's perhaps more recent in the last 12 months, which not really in a sense, I mean, I do think it's good, but not in a sense of like the finished thing being like, oh my God, this is one of the best things we've ever done on the show. Just what it really meant for us as a show, where we as a team, on their request actually, not ours, that we went to the White House and did a take a break at the White House, and then we ended up spending like 55 minutes in the Oval Office with President Biden, and then he gave us a tour of the White House and showed us different things, and really, like I say, for us as a team, for all of us to fly there, you know, like so many of our team are here tonight, I should say, and I think we all had a moment, me, Ian, Lauren, Glenn, James Longman, we all sort of looked at each other like, oh wow, you know, this is like, because it was quite a smaller crew when we went and shot with Michelle Obama, so really felt like a moment for us, and I think because we'd all been in COVID for so long, it really felt like a special day to be there.
Excellent.
My true, I guess one of my favorite moments is you develop relationships as a show with certain artists, and one of the relationships that we've developed in a really beautiful way is with Tom Cruise. And whenever Tom's come on the show, we've done crazy things with him. We reenacted his entire film career with our bit Roll Call. We took a cruise ship out on the Thames, and James and him did what was it called? It was
a new business venture that I had called Tom's Cruise on the river.
Yeah.
Tom's Cruise on the river James Corden.
Thames Corden.
Thames Corden.
Yeah, so we did that as part of our London shows, and then James and him jumped out of a plane in a parachute. And all of these bits with Tom would get hundreds of millions of views. And when Top Gun was being filmed, he invited us down to the set to come and film something with him there. And just being there, it was just beyond our wildest dreams. I've never, ever been more worried about anything we've ever been shooting, because James...
I'm glad you were worried, yeah.
Because James... James is up for anything always if it makes good television, to a certain extent. But I've never seen you as worried and scared in the 2 weeks leading up to that moment. We pulled out on that. We were doing the Tonys at the time, and you pulled out. And I remember Tom was sort of calling, going, is he back in? Is he in? Is he out? And James was sort of going, giving me messages for his family. I was like, oh my God, this is awful. And just when they touched back on the ground, of course, you were more relieved, but I was incredibly relieved about it. You were really scared.
And of course, if something did go terribly wrong on that day, it would have been Tom Cruise dies in plane crash.
Well, that's the reason.
With passenger.
100%. That's the reason. That's it. And more than that, and this was a genuine thought I had, more than that, if it's not that Tom Cruise died, I killed him, right? And then my children, they'd be somewhere, Brian, one day, and someone would look over and go, you know, that is, their dad killed Tom Cruise.
Yeah, and they'd have to wear that scar for the rest of their lives. Well, thank God nothing happened. That's the thing I would.
It's all great.
Rob, can you pick a favorite out over the last 8 years?
Well, I mean, I think that it's hard to pick any sort of favorite out of the last 8 years, but I think that obviously Carpool Karaoke was incredibly important to us, and we'll always be eternally grateful to Mariah Carey for saying yes for the first one. But for me, the turning point in Carpool Karaoke was with Stevie Wonder. Because I think that was, if you're a pop star, country star, hip hop, classic rock, everybody loves Stevie Wonder. And so once Stevie Wonder did it, it sort of opened the doors for everybody else to do it. And it also, that version, that Stevie Wonder Carpool, to me, showed the warmth and the heart in the piece, that it's not the singing of the songs, it's two people in a car, and it's the moments in between. And so for that reason, I just think that Stevie Wonder Carpool was great for the show.
Carpool Karaoke reminded me of this. It was a phenomenon online. It became its own series.
Yeah.
Now it's in the 5th year. Is it the 5th year on Apple TV?
5th or 6th, yeah.
Unbelievable. But right, I mean.
Yeah, we're incredibly proud of it. It's on Apple Plus, Apple TV Plus, and it's and to think that, you know, this bit, which was really just James sort of, the reason why it came about was truthfully because when we came out to America, no one would come on our show. No one would be on our show. So we had to invent something where we were like, well, what about if we come to you and all you need to do is sit in the car and we'll go around a loop around your house and then we'll drop you straight back home. And then like, eventually people started saying yes to it. And then you'd see 14, 15, 20, 100 million hits. So people now wanted to do it because it meant their albums go to #1. And, and then Apple, with Apple and Eric Pankowski, who I know is here tonight, and his team with Fullwell have done the most unbelievable job, and we're in our 6th season, 5 Emmys, and our new season starts on the 23rd of June this year. We're incredibly excited about it with Apple.
Let's answer some questions that you may have on your mind. We have a Q&A time right now. We can get some questions and answers from the audience. And we have a microphone. Unfortunately, we have to keep it down on this bottom row because that's where our microphones are. So there's a young lady there, or
there was this man here.
Young man.
Yes. Oh, there's a
Here's
microphone.
a microphone.
Are you willing to come back to do the Tonys, if asked?
Sure, I'd be willing to come. I'm sorry. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Have you hosted it? You haven't hosted the Tonys?
I have not hosted.
I'll do you. I would 100% host the Tony Award. Here's the truth. Award shows are, as I'm sure you can imagine, very, very, very challenging, hard, and often can be thankless task to host them. The 2 times I've hosted the Tony Awards have been, without question, 2 of the best nights I've ever had in my life. To stand in a room where pound for pound there you are talking to, without question, the most talented people on planet Earth who don't get celebrated as much as they should. I've never been asked to do it since, but I would always do everything I could in my power to go back and do it if I was ever needed. I adore that room and I adore that community, so I would do it anytime.
Any thoughts of going back and doing Broadway or getting back on stage yourself? Changing it up?
I couldn't be more. It couldn't feel more urgent within me to need to do that. I would be really, really upset with myself if in the next year or year and a half or so that I don't go and do another play or revisit a play I've already done, or I don't know. I would give anything to go back and do a show again. I'd give absolutely anything.
First time I saw you was doing the History Boys.
Yeah.
At the National, I
That's
believe
right.
it was.
Yeah.
A stunning performance. And then the next time I saw you was in this play that blew my mind called One Man, Two Governors. Has anyone seen that show? Treat yourself. If it comes back, it ever comes back, you've got to see him in that show. It was fall out of your chair funny. I mean, wipe the tears away funny. Amazing performance, really.
Thank you. For coming from you, that means more than you'll ever know.
Oh, right.
Thank you.
We have another question here. Yes, ma'am? There you go. There's a microphone right there.
Thank you so much for 8 years of such joy. And Bryan, thank you for your performances as well. Have you decided what you're going to do with your celebrity photo wall?
Oh, well, we've just started actually. When we do the show, when we have a stop down in the show, I'll often take questions from the audience, a bit like we're doing now, basically. And it's just started to happen. It never happened before. And just in the last couple of weeks, people have gone, can I get the photo of One Direction from the thing? Or can I get the Michael B. Jordan photo? So I don't know if anyone here is planning on coming to the show in the next 12 shows that we've got. But if you do and you put your hand up, I just go, go and take it. It's fine, yeah. So I'm not sure what... We have some plans to do some things with the set and stuff, but that's a lot of photos back there. It's like, I think it's over 3,000 photos.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's pretty amazing to see. We have time for about one or two more. Yes, ma'am, and we have a microphone coming to you. There we go.
Okay, James, there's not a question for you. I just want to thank you so much for speaking when the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, and you put out a piece just from your heart that was so passionate, and I cried just watching it, and it meant so much to me, so thank you for that so very much. That was the most important thing you did for me. I spent a lot of my early years in front of clinics helping women get in them, so I so appreciate it. It meant so much to me, so thank you.
That's the nicest thing you could say, and if you spent your time there in those environments, I feel like we should all be thanking you much more than me ever doing such a thing on a show, but thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any more? Yes, ma'am.
So many questions.
Right here, second row. We have, here.
Oh, there's a microphone.
Microphone right here.
Has anybody contacted the show saying they wanted to be on the show, but you guys decided, no, I don't think so?
Wait, we need more bugs. We need more bugs out here.
I don't think so. Not that certainly I wouldn't ever know about that. I think we're always pretty up for fun. So I don't think that's ever really happened with anybody.
Oh, you have a follow-up question, I see. Are you a journalist?
Is that true?
You what?
There was a rumor that O.J. Simpson had contacted...
There was a rumor that O.J.
O.J.
contacted the show. Hey, there's a lot of rumors flying around. You don't want to...
A lot of rumors
You don't
flying
want to
around.
pay any attention to them.
Let's go back here. There's someone very eager in the middle there.
The lady in the middle, whose
the
friend
white.
is doing this. Yes, the lady in the white.
Here we go.
Here comes the microphone. Go for it.
So first off, I just want to say thank you for everything you guys have done. I've been a huge fan since the One Direction days, and just thank you for all the joy and laughter that you brought to everybody. So my question is, what can I do to be in a position like you someday?
You mean soon to be unemployed?
Yeah.
It's why? What is it that you want to do? What do you mean? You would like to host things or act, or what is it you'd like to do?
Things.
Oh, you'd like to host things.
Yes.
Okay. Well, here's what's your name?
Christina?
Christina.
Yeah.
Here's what I'd say. If you are interested in hosting things and that sort of world of presenting, never before has the world been more open for people to start to build an audience with people just through their phones. It's extraordinary. I sometimes, when I see people sort of give like YouTubers and things a hard time, or there's sometimes an element of snobbery and things towards them, I think it's really out of line. I think it's terrible. I think there is people doing stuff online that's some of the most creative things I've ever seen. And if I was 16, 17, 14, 18, 21, even now, and my life hadn't panned out the way it is, I would 100% be doing that. What I would say is, if you've got an idea, don't talk yourself out of it, go for it and do it. And then you'll find out pretty soon whether it's an idea that people are into, or more than that, if it's something you enjoy. And if you keep going, if you don't stop, if you don't give up, then you can't really ever fail, because you're always on a journey of keeping going and doing it. And you can find that audience and build that audience. And then, you know, in a few years' time, you'll be here doing a PaleyFest, and I'll be dressed as Elmo out on the street. I would say just go for it. Keep going for it. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you so much.
So, you know, we'll get to, let's go to this young man, but I wanted to follow up. Now that we know you're heading into your retirement years.
Yes.
You know, your emeritus status.
Yes.
As it were. Have you thought about what you'd like to do next, or is it you need time to decompress?
I've thought lots about what I'd like to do. What I'd like to do, lots of those things aren't my choice. Do you know what I mean? There's loads of things I'd like to do, but they're very reliant on people wanting me to do them. So I don't know. I think it's going to be really important to take a breath and take a minute. I don't think I can even begin to comprehend what this 8 years has done to me in how changed I am from when I started. Emotionally, what it's going to feel like to say goodbye to it. To say goodbye to all of the people that I work with and that I love, and all of us say goodbye to each other. You know, it's funny, these things it's not just me. I promise you, this isn't me saying something that's just like one of those things that people say. I am literally just a piece in a huge, I'm one cog in a huge thing that works every day to tell the time. I'm just part of it. And so I think if I'm sensible, I will try and embrace some silence, because it's been really, really loud for like 8 years. And really focus on trying to make this, the change to move home, to try and make that as smooth as I can for my children and my wife. And I don't think we can even begin to comprehend what it's all going to feel like. I'm certain that this is the most overwhelming year of my life. It's professionally, and sometimes you feel like you just want to rush into something else because you're so scared, you're so terrified that like it's just going to go like that, and then you're just sort of nowhere. And then you just think, I want to, like my agent Rachel's here, and she puts up with nothing but shit from me on the phone, because I've never felt this scared. I haven't felt this scared since I decided to take the show to move here. I haven't felt so on such unstable ground where I haven't known what I'm going to do. And I have to embrace that fear, because I think to be excited and scared is probably where you're in the right place to make something quite interesting.
It is good. I think most people would be surprised, however, to think that after all these years working in stage and television and movies, that you still have a fear, of an anxiety.
Oh man, like you've never known. But it's, I'm just aware that I'm just aware that what I'm trying to do just isn't a road that's often traveled. To go from like National Theatre, write a TV show for the BBC, Broadway, host a late night talk show, shoot some stuff in the middle of that, and stop hosting a late night talk show and go, oh, I'd like to do another play now, please. It just isn't a road that's been traveled to my knowledge. And so with that comes a huge amount of fear. It's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. You know, when Breaking Bad finished, you think, well, maybe that was, did you have a moment where you thought, you've got to make peace with the idea that that was the biggest it got, right? You know what I mean?
Oh, that was my pinnacle, you're saying?
No. I'm saying at the time, I'm saying at the time that you think, well, who gets, you know, you like Malcolm in the Middle, huge smash. Breaking Bad, huge smash. You think, okay, well, maybe after this, who knows? I don't know.
I looked at it a little differently, that it was like I was on a wave, like I was surfing on a wave, and I didn't know how long that wave is gonna last.
Yes.
So I just keep surfing. Just stay on the board as best you can. And at some point, I'm gonna hit the beach.
Yes.
And the sand, and I'm gonna fall on my face. And when that happens, it's time to walk away, I think. I don't know. But I don't know that I've ever experienced a level of anxiety or fear in that sense. I thought if I could just make a living as an actor, that's my biggest accomplishment. Anything beyond making a living is just all gravy.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
If you can at any point, if you can be an actor or a writer or a musician in any way, and you can live, eat, roof over your head, then you've cracked it. You've absolutely made it.
Yeah.
So I think it's just such an overwhelming time.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine.
We'd love to bring our fearless band leader, Reggie Watts, out to join the panel.
So, Reg, take us back 9 years ago, and you get a call from this gentleman, and what could he possibly say, and how did he put it to court you into doing this?
Well, I mean, it was very abstract because about 2 weeks prior, I had just left a show that was a fake talk show, and I was a fake one-man band leader. And I was like, well, I guess that's about it, and we'll go back to New York. And then my agent calls. Do you know Rachel Rush?
I do know Rachel Rush.
Yeah.
Rachel Rush is
Getting a lot of shouts.
responsible for Reggie Watts' role on the show.
Thank you, Rachel. So I get this call, and I'm like, yeah, this guy wants to meet with you. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. He's doing the talk show. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. He's like, wants to talk to you at the hotel. It's like, yeah, but I just left a talk show. Anyways, so I show up at the hotel. We hang out. You're there.
I am.
And I can tell he's like, okay, who is this guy? What's this guy about? And we're like hanging out. We're having a good time. And then you kind of go, okay, you guys talk amongst yourselves. And then basically, James was just like, hey, man, whatever you want to do, like whatever kind of band you want to put together, whatever you want to do, I'm totally down. You could show up just before the show starts. Your car could be running, as what you said. Your car could be running, and then when the show is over, you just run out to your car and leave. And what's funny about that is that it has actually turned into that. Not out of me being like, I don't want to be here at the show, but just like, I love efficiency, and I love like being creative, and having the breadth, and having people trust my sensibilities. That's exactly what happened. I mean, exactly what he said is exactly what the experience.
Now, he has such a strong musical background. Did you quiz him on what style of music he wanted to play? Or
I don't think we talked about music.
No.
Oh, really?
No.
I've said this before, and I meant it then, and I mean it even more now, that Reggie was on a list of one. If Reg said no, there was nobody else. It was like the page was empty because he represented everything I wanted the show to feel like. He was comedic, he was so funny, such a sharp mind, as good a singer as anyone you could ever wish to meet. And I knew that he would find a band and put together a band that would set the tone and that it would be joyful. And we met at this hotel. Well, because we'd met. What actually happened was we'd met before, and you were like, "Yeah, man, I'm in. This is great." And I was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing." And a week later, Reg said, "Actually, I've changed my mind. I'm not going to do it."
Oh, really?
So then I said, "Will you just meet me on like Thursday night at this hotel, just and we'll chat." And I said to Reg, "Reggie, this is going to be that. This is because your worry was I've signed up to stuff before and I end up just waiting around and not doing anything." I said, "I promise you, I am never going to use a second of your day that you don't need to be there, right? I will never say to you, I will never be like, I'll never call you in unless, and if we do call you in and say, do you want to come and do this, which often we do, and Reg is actually, ironically, the first to be like, that sounds fun, I'll be there, and when we're shooting stuff or anything. And then we ate some chocolate weed, and
They took it immediately, and that was kind of a selling point.
Because Reg said, do you want some marijuana? And I was like, oh, I don't think you can smoke in here, man. And he went, no, it's just chocolate. And we ate it, and very quickly, I realized to me that Reg is much better at eating this than I am. And Reg was talking to me. Then we just started giggling our brains out. And I remember saying to you, if this show works, somebody, somewhere, will say it's because of you. I said, if this show is an absolute disaster, you're still going to get paid, and nobody is going to say it was because of you.
That's right.
I said, I'm carrying it all here, and just jump on this journey with me. He then said, can I pick my own band? I said, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I remember saying to Ben, Reggie's picking the band. Ben was like, well, hang on, wait, what if we don't like the musicians? I said, that's it, Reggie's picking the band. That's it. And Ben was like, well, what do you mean?
I couldn't cope with the lack of control.
Ben was like, no, he can put people forward, and we can... And I said, no, Reg is choosing the band.
Totally putting him under the bus right now.
No, I had a friend of mine...
I backed that up. I was really nervous about it. I mean, he was like, oh, we're just going to let Reggie choose the entire thing. I was like, I've met this guy for 1 minute. I left you, I went out for dinner, and I came back, you were stoned off your face, and now... And now these two clowns are going to choose an entire band for a late-night show that has to be musical.
It's true, and I had a friend of mine, my friend Andy, who's a drummer, was up for moving to LA. I said, Reg, will you meet my friend Andy? Thinking, this is great. If Andy's there, everything's golden. Reg met my friend Andy, was like, nah, he's not my vibe, dude.
I remember that.
And then I will say, because the great thing about Reg is that his whole thing, he's got this attitude of like, yeah, no, it's cool, man, and that's true. He is, in truth, he cares more than anyone else you could wish to meet. And I will say, the band that he put together on the show, you were lucky enough to see perform, who are still here, I imagine, now.
They're right here next to me.
Oh, well, you're still there. I thought you were out there. You've been there the whole time.
No, they came back just now to play us out. They're going to play.
You're still on that chocolate weed, aren't you?
These four musicians that you see here they created a feeling in our studio that every single guest that walks through the door, every single audience member, every single thing, sharing the sort of on-screen notion of the show, myself, Reggie, and this band has been the single greatest privilege of the whole thing. He put together a band far beyond anything I ever could have dreamt of, and they've just been absolutely amazing for our show. It's been incredible.
It's been a great run.
Yeah, we love you.
Before we move on, could you introduce your band to the audience so that we...
Oh, yeah.
Properly.
We got Steve Scalfati on keys.
Woo!
Yeah, man.
Yes, Steve.
We got Guillermo Brown on the drums.
Woo!
We got Hagar Ben Ari on bass guitar. And then we have the best kept secret in Silver Lake, Mr. Tim Young on guitar.
That's right. Thank you, guys. To James and Rob and Ben, can you give us a little teaser? Can you give us an idea of what we can expect in these last groups of shows that are coming up this month?
Yeah, I mean, we have 3 weeks left, so we want to go out as big as we came in. We're hoping, if possible, to get one Carpool Karaoke per week as we say goodbye. We also want to say goodbye to Crosswalk the Musical. And we got a few other things planned and up our sleeve.
Yeah, we did. I think that we've got. Yeah, I mean, we've got loads happening. We're very excited about it. We did do one thing which was incredible, which was again further on from what we said about our relationship with Tom Cruise, in that a couple of weeks ago, without the audience knowing at the Pantages, James and Tom performed as Timon and Pumbaa in The Lion King, and. The audience was sort of double-taking, going, hold on, is that James Corden and Tom Cruise on stage? And that will be in our finale and is really fun. But there's lots of great stuff planned we have for the last few shows.
Anything that you might swipe from the stage as a memento, you know, on your way out, you might Do a little.
Yeah, I mean, some things I've
Something-
already stolen
no?
without anyone knowing.
Anybody?
Yeah, you got a stacked garage already.
I'm taking that synthesizer.
Yeah.
You're taking the synthesizer?
There's like the weirdest thing, the synthesizer, I think, well, it's not up here now, but the one that I have in front of me, I have the same one at home, and it doesn't sound anywhere as cool as that. There's something magical about that synth. I have no idea.
There you go.
So I'm gonna figure out a way. I'll like leave like a $5 bill and take it.
Yeah, that's probably the equivalent of it. James,
Yeah.
are you anything? Or
I haven't really thought about
Just
it. If I'm
your
honest.
dignity?
I can't leave with my dignity. That was gone as soon as I was dressed as a human pinata and being hit by a stick by LL Cool J.
Exactly.
No, that's when that went. I don't know. I'm not one for.
sentimental?
No, I don't do a lot of
objects?
that. Ben's big into that. I don't.
I'm big into that.
I don't look back that often.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Ben, what are you going to take?
The whole thing.
Oh, I'm going to take the whole lot. I'm packing it away. I'm hoping that, like, yeah, I hope we can move some of the set to our offices. Really, I like to hang on to things and.
You're moving the entire.
Well, you know that
set.
signed, the signed wall.
Yeah.
That signed wall.
Yeah.
I'd like it to be in our toilet of our offices. And,
In the toilet
yeah,
of
I
your
think
office.
it'd be really
That's
cool.
how highly he
Yeah.
regards the sign
I
wall,
think
to
it'd
put
be
it in the
cool.
toilet.
No, I do. I am sentimental when it comes to things, unlike James, who can just, move on, and
James,
that's not me.
if you were able to go back, and we were talking about the anxiety of performing something, if you were able to go back and talk to the 2015 James, who's just about to put his neck out there and star in a late talk show, would you be able to then give him some advice? And if so, what could you tell the James of 2015?
Oh, I'd tell him. I'd just tell him. I'd tell him you're about to go on a real ride here, and I would tell him that he has absolutely no idea how lucky he is, because he's going to get to go to work every day with a group of people who they are not colleagues, they are friends, and you're going to join this found family at work, and these people are going to look after you, and they're going to put your arm around you, and you're going to laugh with them, and you're going to sing with them, and you're going to mess around with them, and you're going to do stuff where every day you find yourself with Ian or Louis or Reggie or anyone, where every day you'll look at someone who you absolutely love, who got into this game for the same reason that you did, because you just want to have fun, and you're going to find yourself in so many situations where you're going to go, can you fucking believe we get to do this? And I would tell him not to overthink it. I would tell him to not get involved in any kind of competition, because it's a competitive space at times, and I'd tell him to ignore that and just absolutely have a blast. And I would tell him to really, really make sure you leave at the right time, where it's so celebratory. That's what I'd do.
This is it's a legendary show. It really is. It's going to be remembered for eons. The Late Late Show with James Corden. Congratulations to all of you, really. I mean, it's an enormous undertaking, but you did it with such aplomb and such dignity and such fun. You had so much fun, and you brought entertainment to millions of people. James, how would you like to go out tonight?
A lot of our team and crew are here tonight. Okay.
That's Mike Moves.
And it sounds like...
That's Mike. We can hear
It sounds like a couple of them may have taken some cocaine.
Some chocolate marijuana.
I would... Firstly, the first thing I would like to say is I would really like to thank the PaleyFest. Yeah. They have always supported our show. And sometimes organizations can... sometimes in television there can be, snobbery at points about shows like ours, because But to look at that poster and see us alongside Yellow Jackets and Mrs. Maisel and all the other great shows in television, the fact that as an organization they are so smart to recognize all of television and see it for all of its breadth. Nights like tonight mean a huge amount to us. And in terms of how would we want to go out with more, anyone that's watched the show, anyone that's enjoyed the show, anyone that's stuck with us through all of it, you'll never know what it means. I love you very, very much. I love everyone that works on the show, and I guess we would want to go out with the very thing we wanted to make the show about, which was joy and love and gratitude. And I thank you all very, very, very much for supporting our show and for coming out. Thank you.